had a hand in helping Jephthah win the war. Okay? And you're telling people, you're going around telling little kids in church and stuff, yeah, God did that because, teach an evil person, Jephthah, a lesson. Really. Even though the whole Bible says Jephthah's a great, righteous man. He's moral as heck. He's moral than most of us. This thing that God allows innocent people to die to prove a point to evil people? That doesn't even make any sense, but yet you keep doing it over and over. That's all I hear from Christians. That's all I ever hear. Is yes, God did this evil thing and let all these innocent people get hurt, die, tortured, all to prove a point to an evil person. That doesn't make any sense unless you're evil. Okay? This is Tablets and Temples on YouTube if you want to watch the whole thing.
Tragic and unsettling. Jephthah is introduced as the son of a prostitute and a mighty warrior. War breaks out between this people called the Ammonites and Israel. In the midst of this war, Jephthah makes a promise to God. If you will give the Ammonites into my hand, then whoever comes out of the doors of my house to meet me, when I return victorious from the Ammonites, shall be the Lord's, to be offered up by me as a burnt offering. The battle ensued. And sure enough, he was victorious. And as he returned home, who is it that should greet him? His daughter. And he broke down crying with regret, as he realized to keep his promise meant sacrificing his only child. And the daughter, she doesn't resist, and encourages him to follow through with his vow. She gets 2 months to wander the hills with her friends.
Why would she do that? Why would she encourage it if it was not acceptable behavior to do human sacrifices? She would only encourage it if human sacrifice was so rampant and so common that she just was commonplace to just say, yeah, you're right, we need a human sacrifice myself.
Because she was an unmarried virgin, and when she came back, he completed his vow. The story ends by describing an annual tradition in Israel of the women going out to remember Jephthah's daughter. Okay, that's messed up. So why is this crazy story of child sacrifice in the Bible? Most interpretations of this story boil down to one of 2 possibilities. First, that he did not actually kill his daughter. Instead, she was forced to remain a virgin her whole life, kind of like a nun.
Because that's the definition of burnt offering, is losing your virginity. Yeah, that makes sense.
In this view, the idea that he sacrificed her comes from a misunderstanding of the burnt offering. The second view is that he did indeed kill his daughter, and that there is a lesson to be learned about making rash vows. Let's take a look at that first interpretation. As far as we know, all of the earliest commentary for centuries, from the Jewish historian Josephus to Christian writers like Jerome, unanimously interpreted Jephthah to have sacrificed his daughter as a burnt offering. In the Middle Ages, some commentators started to feel uncomfortable with the idea of human sacrifice in the Bible, and so they found new ways to read the text. Abraham ibn Ezra was the first to suggest that the daughter was sacrificed by keeping her holy and pure, thus she remained a virgin.
Is that what they... Can you show me one example in the Bible when you sacrifice your virginity and they call it a burnt offering? That makes no sense. A burnt offering, giving up your virginity. Yeah, that sounds like the same words.
Her entire life. Some of the reasons these commentators gave for this are, 1, there is a strong emphasis on her virginity in the story, and it would be kind of weird for Israel to have a national day over a child being sacrificed.
Why? Why is it being weird? If this girl, right, think about it, if you're a believer and you're a Christian and you're during this time, this girl just self-sacrificed herself so that we can win this war and not be taken over by these horrible Ammonites. She would be a hero. And she has to die? Of course we're going to mourn her every year. That's what they're not celebrating her death. They're mourning that that she sacrificed herself for the whole community. Okay? Why is that weird? Him saying that it's weird, that's weird. Why wouldn't you? You're saying this little girl in the story self-sacrifices her life for you and your kids and your community. And it's weird to celebrate or mourn that she's dead? Really? You're weird if you weren't appreciative. Like, if you didn't appreciate that from that little girl? Like, what? This doesn't make any sense, him saying that. That's weird that they would celebrate it. We celebrate people all the time that give up their lives to help out the society or help out the people inside the fort or help out people in the country. We celebrate it all the time. What are you talking about? That's what what is it? I don't know, my Veterans Day and stuff like that. Those kind of days, holidays. What do you think them are for? I don't hear him saying that'd be kind of weird that we celebrate people dying in wars. Yeah, it's called Veterans Day, idiot.
Second, child sacrifice was a crime in the Bible, yet Jephthah...
We got another liar here. Leviticus 22, no child sacrifice. What do you want to bet? $1 million. We're going to look this up, and it's talking about human sacrifices to other gods. Let's see. Okay, here's Leviticus 20. And what was it? Leviticus 22? So this will be easy to read. Let's do the first and second verse. And the Lord spoke unto Moses. So this is the Lord himself speaking. And again thou shalt say to the children of Israel. Now I want you to realize, because sometimes they're saying children mean, when you have, in the Bible when it says children of, and it doesn't have a person's name, it has a country or a society or whatever, like children of Israel, children of Ammon, children of... They're not talking about actual children. They're talking about citizens. They're calling them children because they're like the children of Israel, because they're children compared to God, right? So don't get it mixed up that they're talking about actual children. They're talking about citizens, okay? Again, thou shalt say to the children of Israel, meaning the citizens of Israel, whosoever he be of the children of Israel, or of the strangers that sojourn in Israel, that giveth any of his seed to Moloch. Remember, Moloch and Baal, these are gods that are not the Christian God. He said, okay, so whosoever he be of the children of Israel, meaning all the people that are Jews, that giveth any seed to this guy, any seed to this other god, he shall surely be put to death. The people of the land shall stone him with stones. Okay, first of all, this has nothing to do with human sacrifice. I don't see the word sacrifice. I don't see the word... all I'm seeing is the word seed, meaning don't have sex and have children with this tribe of Moloch who worship this other god Baal. Okay, so this guy is even worse than the last video, right, where they gave the 3 examples in Jeremiah. At least the examples that they gave in Jeremiah were actually about human sacrifice. This one doesn't even have anything to do with human sacrifice. Nothing at all. It has to do with giving your seed to this tribe and having children with these evil people. Nowhere in it, and if you do that, you should be stoned. This doesn't even bring up human sacrifice to other gods. It doesn't bring up human sacrifice at all. And my question is, why, if there's a verse in the Bible that says that the God is against human sacrifice, period, why don't anyone show it? Why do they keep putting these... and I could put up 100 videos from these Christians, and they will put up 100 verses saying how God doesn't like human sacrifice. But every time you look them up, you get one of 2 things. Either this, where the verse has nothing to do with human sacrifice. It's not even mentioned. It's not even mentioned. Or it's mentioned, but he's only against human sacrifice when you're human sacrificing to another god. Why is every example about another god? Oh, I know why. Because the Christian God in the Christian Bible does love human sacrifice. The literal foundation of Christianity is based on human sacrifice, and we're going to get to that. You know, that will be our third story, okay? But I think the second story is going to be Abraham and whatever. But you can see, he's lying. This guy's lying about the verse more than the Jeremiah guy was.
The phrase used in Jephthah's vow meaning burnt offering comes from the root word Allah, which means to go up, and so it's argued that it's been misunderstood in this context. He was setting his daughter aside for God. You can understand why people would want to rescue the Bible from this uncomfortable story. There are several major problems with this theory, though. The first being that this idea only developed in the Middle Ages. All of the earliest commentators interpreted it as human sacrifice. The later
The reason why is because that's what it was. There was human sacrifice rampant through Christianity. And as time went on, you know, they took that out. Tried to seem like they were normal.
Interpretation coincided with the growth of the number of women participating in monasteries and secluded monastic life in medieval Europe. Later interpretation coincided with the growth of the number of women participating in monasteries and secluded monastic life in medieval Europe. The second problem is that while the Hebrew word does come from a root verb that means to go up, when used as a noun in the Bible, it always refers to a burnt offering. The history or origin of a word doesn't dictate its meaning. The way to determine what a word means is to look at its use in as many different contexts as possible.
Yeah.
When looking at this noun, olah, in Hebrew, there are hundreds of other examples to look at, and they all refer to a burnt offering. So it would seem that when the text says Jephthah kept his vow, the ancient audience understood that he really had sacrificed his daughter as a burnt offering.
And they understood that because it was commonplace back then.
So then, what's the point of this gruesome tale? Why did Jephthah even make such an irresponsible promise in the first place? Whoever comes out of the door to greet me, I will sacrifice? What?
Because it was commonplace back then. If you understand that Christianity is based on, you know, human sacrifice, it all makes sense. Why did he make such a crazy, you know, deal with God? Because it wasn't crazy if you believe in human sacrifice.
What was he expecting? A pet sheep? Well, that is actually what some have argued. The particular word Jephthah used in his vow translates literally, the one that comes out. Could it have been an animal he was hoping for? The vast majority of the time that wording is used in this way, it refers to people, but there are a few occasions where it refers to an inanimate object. So there is a small chance.
No, it's not. There's not a small chance it could be an inanimate object, because inanimate objects don't walk and talk like an animal.
But it was more likely a person. After all, he would have known that it was customary in Israel for women to come out and greet victorious male warriors with a song and dance.
Notice timbrels and song, just like in the Jephthah story.
One scholar has argued that Jephthah was actually expecting a family member to come out,
Yes.
and that's why he made the vow. You see, in the world of judges, honor was like a social currency. Jephthah was the lowly son of a prostitute, and so honor did not come to him naturally. Victory in battle would have given him honor. For this reason, perhaps he was thinking he would have to sacrifice one of his children. The costliest sacrifice brings the highest honor. And so it would seem that the story is deliberately disturbing. It's over the top, almost to the point of being absurd. But as with many of the stories in Judges, that's kind of the point.
No, it's not the point. The point is that it was absurd because it was back in the day, and that's how it was back then. Christianity was based on human sacrifice. So it wasn't absurd back then because it was common knowledge that it was based on human sacrifice.